Hello, Julieta here. So in this session, this is an all-rounder, and we will be using a chair because we will be doing the sit to stand exercise. We'll also be using a ball and a resistance band. And if you don't have a ball, do not worry. You can use a sofa cushion, or when we get to that part, just simply fold up the resistance band and we'll use that instead of the ball. Okay, so I'll pop the music on for the Caribbean Blue and we can begin our warm-up. Before I put the music on, I will move the chair and let's do a few breaths in. Breathing in, breathing in. We'll do 5 of these total. Breathing in and 5, and then giving that body a tap. And massaging that lower back, releasing the muscles there, tapping down and up a few times. Maybe shaking it out a little bit, shaking the legs and arms. And now I'll put the music on for the Caribbean Blue. Imagining a bubble between your hands. Sunrise. And the back relaxer. And sunrise. Go around the room. Sunrise. finding that beautiful end pose. Fantastic. Okay. So perhaps having the first sip of water. And then we will come to the chairs for the sit to stand. So sit to stands are fantastic. Kind of the whole body really gets the circulation going. Really good for our quadriceps, our thigh muscles, even our core. And of course makes getting up out of all sorts of chairs, car chairs, bus chairs, all chairs, much easier. So there are quick sit to stands where we just come to the edge of the chair and go up and down and up and down. The one I like to do involves the hip walk. So this is another exercise that keeps the mobility and strength in those movements of the hips. So if you're sitting down in a big comfy armchair or a big comfy sofa and you're not sure how to get out of it, start with the hip walks. So we'll hip walk to the front, and level 1 is to push off with the hands. Maybe loosen the knees here. Shuffle back until you feel the chair against your, I feel it against my calf muscles. And then without looking behind us, we can grab the chair and sit down. And one of the reasons we do that, I'll do a second one, level 2 is crossing the arms, is so we don't have to awkwardly turn and sit. Because when we turn and try to sit, we could ping our back. So it's a nice option to just back up until you feel the chair. We don't need to look, we know it's there. Level 2 is doing this sitting down motion with no arm supports. Okay, so I'll leave it to you. If it's a hot day like today, as I'm recording this, you might end up doing 5, otherwise go for 8 or even 10. And keep track of how many, you can do without getting winded, because this is something we can build on over time. And it's measurable of how much stronger we're getting. So this is my third. I'm going to do 10, but of course do as many as feels appropriate in your own time, going faster or slower than me. The slower, the lower, the harder it is actually. So if you're going too fast, you might want to slow down. It will actually make it stronger. Speeding it up makes it more aerobic and more of a cardio workout. Okay. I'm going to say this one is 5, number 5, although I may have miscounted. We'll just call this 5, and then coming back. And a little bit about how we want to work in these Move It or Lose It videos. Move It or Lose It is, the program I trained with. We're always aiming for moderate exercise. And as you've seen yourself, the theory is we do moderate exercise, not working to our max, we still get stronger, and it's safe. It's safe for our hearts, even if there are underlying heart conditions. And it's not too much of a shock for the body. We don't have to have a big recovery time after. So moderate exercise is where you can say a sentence while you're exercising. So that's the talk test. And especially while you're at home, working out at home, make sure you can get out a sentence, that you're not getting too breathless. So you're working at a moderate level, which will give you results. Okay, I have no idea how many I've done now. I'm going to do 2 more. This could be 10, let's hope. Might be more. I hope you are better at keeping count than me today. Okay, I'm going to do 1 more, and then we'll actually do some nice stretches on the chair before continuing. So coming back down, Great. So many of you in my class know about these, the back relaxer sequences that I enjoy doing. This is, one sort of small way we can begin to really mobilize the back. It's a little bit like our back relaxer that we do standing. It's a nice one to do if you've been sitting for a long time. Okay, and then we have the cat-cow, seated cat-cow. So basically we curl in, sort of arching our back to the back like a cat, and looking down at the thighs, and then we come up to straight, breathing in. So breathing out, curling over, breathing in, sitting up. Now if it does not introduce any pain or tension into the back, you could open your shoulders and even look up. Just watch the lower back with that one. Okay, I'm going to curl down again, breathing out and breathing in. And we'll do one more, breathing out. And breathing in, fantastic. And then another back loosener is the side to side. Fantastic. And let's also take our first leg stretch of the class. I'll move the chair to the side. And we'll just, so I like to push the heel along the floor. And that already introduces the stretch down the back of the leg. Some people feel the stretch more here in the calf. Some people feel it more, in the hamstring area. It depends where you're tightest, actually. We'll feel it where the tight muscle is. So flex the toe. So if your toe is just kind of, hanging out, not totally flexed, the stretch will be a lot easier. So actually bringing that toe up towards the nose introduces more of a stretch down the back of the leg. That may well be enough. If you feel the stretch now, just stay there. Otherwise, hands on the opposite thigh, and for more of a stretch, that's when we hinge forwards. And it does intensify the stretch, especially if you're bringing that toe up towards your nose. And I look forwards on this stretch. It reminds me not to pull at my neck. So if I look forward, that stretches mainly the leg. It's not in the neck. Okay, great. Changing sides. So again, I'm pushing the heel out, feeling that initial stretch down the back of the leg. I do want to feel more of a stretch, so I'm going to put hands on the opposite thigh, sit up straight, and then hinge forward just a little bit, looking forward. So yes, I really feel that stretch now down the back of my leg. And then coming up, sometimes we point the toe. I don't think I did that on the other leg, so we'll do it on both legs. And then rotating the ankle. Getting that first sort of ankle rotation in, whether it be figure eights, circle, a square, just some ankle movement there will help loosen it up. So doing the other ankle. Okay, great. So extra sit stands to get up. And then we don't need the chair until the end. So I'll put this to one side. And we can commence our balance section. Do have a sip of water if you're getting warm. So we'll do a few tap-tap steps. So either going in one place if you don't have an expansive space in front of you. And of course, if you do the tap-tap step this way, you could put your hand on that chair for balance, or on a wall. Or you could, of course, take it sort of forward into the wild. Okay. You might also have room to do a tap-tap square. And then we'll move to the tightrope walks. And again, if you don't have much space or if you're using chair as a support, feel free to go forward and back a few times, just in the same space. Otherwise, you know, if you have a longer stretch, feel free to go further. And coming forward and back. And just notice when you do lose your balance, like I just did there, where is it that we have to engage a bit more? So for me, it's often my core that hasn't quite woken up yet. It can also be that my legs are, you know, a little not working very much. So I have the image of, you know, some people like to have the image of a rubber band, an elastic band over the thighs, or bringing the inner thighs together, kind of zipping up. So that actually helps engage more muscles in this sort of central axis of the body where we find our balance. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we will get the chairs again. I said we wouldn't need them till the end. We don't really need them, but it's nice to have as a support in front of you. So feet parallel. I'm maybe fingers on the chair back. I'm actually going to move the chair because it makes it hard to see my feet and what they're doing. So feet parallel and then coming up and down, up and down. And again, this movement is coming from that same zipped up feeling through the body, except our legs are apart. Okay. And let's come up and hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming down. I like to shake it out a bit here. And then coming up for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming down, shaking it out. And let's go up to 10. So coming up to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great, coming down, shaking it out. Now the chair is very useful to the side for this one, where we place our hands, meaning we're standing on the side of the chair. Chair could also be like this. And just to have the ability to pop the hand on the chair. So we'll do our one leg stands. So kind of deciding which leg to stand on, for me, is going to be my right. I immediately feel that leg rooting down into the ground, feeling this side of the body really especially zipping up. But of course, the whole body is engaged. The whole torso is engaged. And then kind of level 1 is just bringing those toes to, you know, the ankle maybe. If your hand is on the chair, just play with coming down to maybe 2 fingers or 1 finger. If you feel like 1 finger is enough, start playing with taking the finger off, you know, challenging the balance that way. Maybe you aren't on the chair, that's great. Bringing the knee further up, if you would like more of a balance challenge. And yes, if you would like another level of balance challenge, coming forward and backwards. And again, if you do lose your balance, pay attention to which direction or where did it happen. So for me, you know, I often feel I lose my balance when my right arch collapses. So that's what I tend to focus on while I'm balancing, is that foot, keeping that arch high. And of course, if you're wearing trainers, it kind of naturally supports that. So that is, it's useful to have supportive shoes on if you know your arches have a tendency to collapse. Okay, let's go to the other side. So I'll leave the chair there for now, and then coming up with the foot on the ankle. Maybe the knee comes up more, maybe not. And if you do have your hand on the chair, whichever side, you know, play with lightening the grip, coming down to 1 or 2 fingers, maybe even taking the hand off and on the chair. Maybe at this point, you know, if you've got it in you, moving the leg for more of a balance challenge, and become curious when it does go wrong. How did it go wrong? Where did that start? Sometimes it's collapsing one way in the torso, and then that throws it all off. So where do we need to support ourselves a bit more, zip ourselves up a bit more? It can be a useful thing to just pay attention to. Okay, coming up with the knee at the end and down, and we'll shake it out. All right, definitely have another sip of water. And we will get the resistance band. Okay, great. So, begin with some arms. We've been doing a ton of legs with the sit stand and all that balance work. So now the arms get a go. So I'm going to take the band at around, you know, hip level. The band is coming out of the thumb direction, a little bit like an ice cream cone, like you're holding an ice cream cone. My shoulders are down. Make sure that core is engaged. And then we'll thumb our lift. Make sure to breathe. Always breathe. Okay, thumbing the lift means my thumb is getting near the shoulder, but it's not touching the shoulder. If you do not feel much resistance here, grab the band a bit lower. And, you know, if you're not touching your shoulder, absolutely fine. It's better to work with a bit more resistance here and not touch the shoulder rather than something like this, which you can see it looks too easy, doesn't it? It's because I'm not really feeling like my muscle is challenged. So we do have to challenge the muscle or load it up with resistance for the muscle to get stronger. Okay, 8 to 10 is plenty. So then I'm standing on the band. It's coming out through the outer part of my foot, grabbing the band at waist level and thumbing the lift. Breathing as we do this. Okay, and we'll step in the middle of the band. Band in either fist now. And coming up at different angles. So some to the side, and notice my arms are not coming up very far. And coming to the front like zombie arms. Really feeling those upper arm muscles working. coming at a diagonal. So this is like a V shape, making a V shape with your arms. Some people call this the pizza slice. Okay, and then we'll crisscross the arms in front of the body. And elbowing to the back. Now I've got my elbows bent. Okay, great. Okay. And a newish one we have been introducing to the class a bit is literally just holding the band with feet apart, palms facing down, and we pull it apart, working even more muscles. And one more is 8. Great. Shaking it out. Then we'll take the band to do some shoulder and chest openers. So bringing the band to the upper back. I've got my arms straight, palms together, feet apart, and then opening and closing. And it might feel nice to breathe in as you open and out as you close. Give that a try. I'm going to do 2 more. Okay. Another shoulder opener, quite good one. Now we're holding the bands, kind of like we did in the previous exercises, shoulder width or even, further apart. The tighter you are in the shoulders, give yourself more space. So I'm going to go to about shoulder width. Arms are relatively straight, and then bouncing upwards. So just going until you meet resistance in your shoulder, and please don't work with pain. If you feel pain, just go to where you feel resistance rather than pain, unless a physical therapist has literally given you this exercise and told you how far to go. Otherwise, we're just slowly trying to increase our mobility. And if you do get to the top, woohoo, wonderful, feel that lovely stretch down the back and coming down. Great. And then we'll do the opposite stretch. So bringing the palms facing each other and bringing those arms back. Okay, fantastic. So then we will use the ball for some wrist strengthening next. Now remember, if you don't have a ball, it's a good moment to just roll up or fold up the resistance bands and do the exercise with the resistance bands. But if we do have a ball or use a cushion or something else, this is the exercise. So shoulders down. Core engaged again. If you're standing, feel free to sit and do this if you're getting a bit winded or hot. And then we've got the palms kind of in a prayer position around the ball. And we pulse. And this is really getting at the wrists. It will work other parts of our arm as well, but it's targeting the wrists. And this one is a good mobilizer for the wrists. So we'll do a couple rounds of those. Some more. Make sure the shoulders don't creep up. Bring them down and back. And mobilize those. And then we have our grip improver. massaging the ball, trying to get each finger involved in the ball and the palms of the hands. Okay, we have our lovely teapot exercise. So today we're probably pouring lemonade rather than the tea. This is a side strengthener. And again, I aim for 8 on each side. So here's 6, 7, 8. Wonderful. Changing sides. And of course, this is also challenging our grip. Avoid rocking. So this makes it a lot easier and is not targeting our side. So if the rest of us is still, and we're literally only moving from these oblique muscles here, you know, that's what we're targeting. That's what we want to target. Okay, great. All right, so we'll put the balls away. We didn't need those for very long. And we'll come for the Tai Chi and the stretch to end this video. Do you have a sip of water if it's been a while since you have? So I've got my feet apart now. And, you know, again, we have this light engagement in the core. Knees are bent, breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. See how smooth you can make this movement. If you would like to come up on the toes for an extra balance challenge, please do. And of course, the challenge is to keep this very smooth while we're coming up on the toes. Breathing in and out. Doing one more of these. And then coming to the bird arms. So I like to start flat to find the connection with the breath, breathing in, and the fluidity of the movement, breathing in and out. And then if you'd like to come to the toes, feel free to rise. And in this one, we'll actually come down through the center. Breathing in through the center. Breathing in. Be one more of these. And then we'll be the wave. So both knees are bent, and we're rocking back and forth, breathing out as you push forward, in as you come back. And the way my feet are going, when I go forward, I come to the toe of the back foot. When I come back, I go to the heel of the front foot. So if you've been doing this for a while, and that feels like something you could bring in, it's kind of a nice massage for the feet, to be honest. Okay, and then we'll change sides. Breathing out as you push forward, breathing in as you come back. And then we'll come to the fountain, breathing in as we come up and fountaining down. Breathing in, fountaining down, reversing direction, breathing in. And now if you'd like to watch one hand and then the other hand, can be a nice mobilizer for the neck. So evening out the head, so taking one or maybe two more. And coming to hug that tree. I like to look down here to add the neck stretch, stretching the back of the neck. And then bringing the arms backwards for that stretch we did with the resistance bands, the open chest stretch. Then we can make one arm heavy and the other arm heavy. Bringing one arm up, stretching the side body, and coming down. Other arm gets heavy, the other arm comes up. Okay, great. Now if you have a wall, that would be wonderful. If you would like, if you've got the wall, then legs come apart, hands are at about chest high, and then it's the moving plank against the wall or the press up. So elbows are bending and straightening. Notice this is engaged. This whole abdomen is engaged, keeping this out of our back. So we don't want to feel, I'll show you, we don't want to do this. So this would be moving with the pelvis, basically bending the back. So engaging the abs prevents that. Nice. Okay. So we only need to do about 10 of those. And then let's stretch the leg. So front leg bends, back leg straight. Feeling the stretch down the back leg. And then raising and lowering that back heel to move the stretch throughout the back leg. And then changing sides, front leg bent, back leg straight. And then moving that leg, that heel up and down. And then we have our back relaxer. So the back relaxer is to bring the feet quite wide apart and then just aiming for a flat back here. And how do we do that? The tailbone moves towards the opposite end of the room. Crown of head moves towards the wall. And as you know, this can be a very intense stretch now. Elongating the spine. Okay, walk towards the wall to come out. Great. Probably feel that one now. So let's bring the chair back for our last bit of relaxation. And we'll begin by easing out the back after, some intense stretching there. So these like little movements, easing out the back. And this one as well. We've got the cat-cow, curling down, sitting straight, breathing out, straight. And then on your next one, you might want to just bring the forearms to the thighs. Let the back slouch, especially the lower back, giving it a rest, basically, giving the back a little bit of a rest. Now, if you do have the flexibility, feel free to go further down. And then we'll just climb up the body to take the work out of the back, coming up. Fantastic. Let's do that lovely leg stretch. I'll turn the chair so you can see me better. Okay, and then again, pressing the heel along the floor, hands on the opposite thigh maybe, if you would like to feel it more, toe towards nose, and then yes, possibly hinging forward just a little bit, really, keeping the head in line with the spine. For some of us, that means we've got to bring our chin back, or just look straight ahead. That usually is enough. Okay, sitting up this time, we'll point the toe, feeling the stretch down the top of the foot and the ankle, and then rotating that lovely foot. Okay, changing sides, pushing the heel along the floor, feeling the toe come towards the nose, which really just means flexing the foot. Hands on the opposite thigh, that may be enough. If you would like to feel more of a stretch, then hinging forward, looking forward, but not like this, keeping the chin back. Sitting up and pointing the toe. And rotating that foot. Okay, so let's end with a little bit of a guided relaxation. So, perhaps closing the eyes at this point, allowing the breath to deepen. Letting your whole body become a bit heavier. And just noticing the fruits of this practice. And if you'd like to bring a color around you, bringing that color around you now. And then letting that go. It's just a brief relaxation there. Blinking the eyes open if they were closed, wiggling toes and fingers. Thank you for joining me on this video, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.